If you're a sprint car fan, there is nothing better than these 2 weeks at Knoxville Raceway. And here with us on this week's Inside Track is longtime friend and veteran lead announcer at Knoxville Raceway, Tony Bokhoven. Tony, thanks for the time.
No problem, Hot Rod. Thanks for asking me.
All right, Tony, before we get into the racing on the track, wanted to get your take on what folks in Knoxville are feeling about all the changes this year in sprint car racing. Tony Stewart purchasing the All-Star Circuit of Champions Series to follow up his ownership of Eldora a few years ago. Todd Queering purchasing Jackson Speedway and then founding the National Sprint League. Chuck Brennan taking over ownership at Houston Speedway. The name change, the pending move to running Saturday nights. The winds of change are blowing pretty strongly, more so in 1 year than I can remember for a long time, if ever.
Well, you're right. There are a lot of things going on in sprint car racing now. When you think about Tony Stewart purchasing the All-Stars, that was one of those things that needed to happen for that series. As they were struggling, Tony came in there. He brought it life. He brought it some promise. And, when you look at their car counts, they're getting 45 to 50 cars at many of their races. So lots of great momentum behind what's going on with the All-Stars. So if you think about Todd Queering, that guy's been around a long time now, and he's done a lot for sprint car racing with teams on the Outlaw Tour before, teams locally here at Knoxville. But purchasing the Jackson Speedway, I was up there earlier this year for an NSL race, and man, the place is just wonderful. And as far as the NSL is concerned, Jackson Speedway is going to be a great place to go, and I would encourage people to go there because it doesn't even look like the same place. As far as Huset's and the purchase there, I'm not sure that changing the name from Huset Speedway to Badlands is really the right thing to do. I think when you think about that racetrack, Huset Speedway has become the brand. And I don't think that was what was wrong there, if anything was wrong there. But, hey, there's always good things that come with change. And so we wish them luck. If Saturday night is the night they think they need to race to provide a better show to their fans, then good luck, because I think it's going to be a tough pull for them. But if they can make it work, that's all that matters.
Now let's talk racing on the track. Of course, Knoxville Speed Week begins this weekend with the 25th Annual Arnold Motor Supply 360 Nationals. Now, this is an event that had been dominated by Shane Stewart with his 4-year run before Brian Brown took the crown last year. There's some really good 360 teams in the country, and this thing seems to be wide open. How do you see it?
Well, I think you're right. It is wide open. With all of the 360 action that's been happening this summer, there's been a lot of 410 guys that have been doing double duty. Of course, Shane Stewart will be very tough again. But there's guys like Justin Henderson that a lot of people in the Sioux Falls area are very familiar with. Probably one of the most dominant 360s locally. And I think when it comes time this weekend for the 360 Knoxville Nationals, he's one of those guys that will be right up there.
And next weekend, of course, the 55th Annual FVP Knoxville Nationals presented by Casey General Store beginning Wednesday and going through Saturday. It's been the Donnie Schatz Nationals as of late, winning 8 of the last 9. And if it wasn't for a burned piston with 2 laps to go during the 50th, it would have been close to 9 in a row. Is this another year of the addition of Donnie Schatz against the world?
Well, I would like to say no, but, how can you bet against him? He's won, including in Australia this year, he's won 26 times already, Hot Rod. So he's been very dominant. Of those 26, I think 21 of them are World of Outlaw wins. So how can you bet against him? Now, he has been getting beat the last couple weeks, so there's hope, right, that we could get a new winner. So, there's a chance that somebody could position themselves in the right place to beat Donnie Schatz.
And finally, Tony, who are some of the local or regional guys that could make some noise at this year's Nationals?
Well, if you think about the All-Stars, for example, Dale Blaney has won 11 times this year. He's got 2 World of Outlaw wins, and the rest of the time he's been winning with the All-Stars. Locally here, there's some guys that could contend. There's nobody that's had more success at Knoxville than obviously Danny Lasowski. You've got other guys, of course, Brian Brown. How can you not talk about him? You'd have to bet on Donnie Schatz to win, but I think there are a handful of guys that can beat him on Saturday night.
All right, Tony, looking forward to seeing you next weekend. Take care and have some fun these next 2 weeks, will you?
Hey, Hot Rod, we sure will. And again, thanks for having us on. But one thing I do want to encourage all the fans that come down from Sioux Falls, I'm sitting right inside the front door of the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame, and behind me are a row of Doug Wolfgang's cars. So for all of you Doug Wolfgang fans that are coming down from Sioux Falls, this is one of those things that you must absolutely check out because it is impressive.
That again, Tony Bokhoven with our preview of the Knoxville Nationals on this week's Inside Track.